Our most popular video here at Clickist is Top 10 Worst Games Suspended by Kickstarter. It's also our most disliked video, so I guess I should say it's the one with the most views, probably because I accidentally titled it Top 10 Worst Suspended Games Suspended by Kickstarter, and the thumbnail said Kickstarted instead of Kickstarters, and I only just now noticed. I wrote an article at about the same time detailing all the video game Kickstarter campaigns that were officially suspended up until that point. We haven't gone back to update the list yet, but even still, there's plenty of material here to knock out a couple more list videos. Suspended, by the way, is the term Kickstarter uses when they officially block or ban a campaign, and just officially put the brakes on it. I don't know why they call it suspended, since they have never lifted a suspension before, but hey, whatever. So, without further suspense, here are 10 more terrible suspended video game campaigns suspended by Kickstarter that got suspended. Number 10. Envelope Licking Simulator. You know how sometimes hack developers shamelessly follow trends and just do whatever's popular without putting in much effort? Don't read too much into that. Such was the case with Envelope Licking Simulator by Reese Quinnen. You have just started a new job at Waffle Gaming, the page reads, and it's your job to seal all the envelopes for this company. You have to try and lick and stick as many envelopes as you can to send your company's customers. It seems like this campaign was cancelled less because it's crap, and likely due to the lack of information available to backers. Kickstarter doesn't disclose why campaigns get suspended, though they do have a rule that states that Kickstarter campaigns must meet a certain level of information available to backers. Number 9. Battle Heroes. Battle Heroes might be one of the better looking campaigns we'll see on this list, though that's not saying much. Look, there's a video and images on the Kickstarter page. Wow, it's almost like a real campaign! But then again, you don't have to look very hard to realize things aren't what they seem. There isn't actually any text on the Kickstarter page, and what little of the English language is here is embedded within these images, which all look pretty similar, and it's all just concept art anyway. There isn't nearly enough information to go on. But there is a twist in the story here, friends. Developer Tanuva Games, according to their trailer and imagery, or possibly DM Games, according to their Kickstarter profile, asked for $10,000. They almost got it too, raising $9,662. How'd they do that when the page looks like what it does? That is a good question. It could be that all that money came from just 17 backers. That is an average of $568 per donation for this. For comparison's sake, my time at Portia's Kickstarter campaign raised $146,697 from 3,708 backers, which is an average of just under $40 per donation. Okay, how about something a little closer monetarily speaking? As I'm writing this, there's a campaign going on called Bring Killer Queen to Quarters Arcade Bay. It currently has $8,527 raised by 127 backers. That is an average of about $67 per donation. That is just an observation on my part, nothing more, nothing less, maybe they have a lot of rich friends. But when Kickstarter refuses to comment and a developer swears they did nothing wrong, all the rest of us can do is make observations, so there's mine. Number 8. The Call of Arms. I'll give Brett Junker, or Junker, the creator of Call of Arms, this. He at least put a lot of effort into the Kickstarter page, because it allegedly didn't go into the game itself. There's quite a lot of text here about the story of the game, and it starts by talking about the development process and how this guy's been making the game for 2 years. It's an MMORPG apparently, and features a literal grimdark setting. Beautiful. Okay, this is clearly a terrible campaign, and there's no way this would have gotten the 25 grand this guy was asking for. But Kickstarter doesn't suspend campaigns over quality control issues, which is a mistake if you ask me. No, this was suspended because in one of the updates, Mr. Junker used footage from another game to advertise the Call of Arms. Commenter Ariel points out that the video shown is actually from a game called Raider Z. Junker half-heartedly tried to protest by posting a YouTube link saying proof, but Rial said he would report the campaign to Kickstarter. I wonder if they're gonna take any action. Number 7. Project Christine, aka Fearless. If you look at the word Fearless on Kickstarter, you're going to get a lot of campaigns called Fearless. but for the sake of my lazy writing, let's say the only campaign you'll find is called Project Christine. This campaign rambles on and on about PC technology and replacing graphics cards, and it contains a bunch of pictures of a Razer product that's called Project Christine. You see, this campaign was actually for a game called Fearless, but even this was a lie, as this game was actually just a trailer and screenshots taken from an animated short film called Azurius Rising. Probably mispronounced that too. This was pointed out by commenters on the campaign, Juan Rubio and 3KOF. The creator of this Kickstarter campaign, Rodriguez Ware, man, I'm doing bad on pronunciations today, denied this and threatened to report these commenters to Kickstarter. But sometime after this, another commenter under Paul Broadhurst correctly pointed out that this is the internet and people will know when somebody on Kickstarter hastily changes their campaign. Unfortunately, no archive version of what the original Kickstarter campaign looked like exists anymore. We can only imagine what the beauty of such a thing was like. Number 6. Realms of Goldesia. Hoo boy, there was a lot going on with Realms of Goldesia. This would have been a VR MMO set in a mix of a sci-fi and fantasy world. There were talks of these great, elaborate features and some concept art. However, no actual in-game videos or screenshots of the game were on the page. Developer Ariel Publishing were asking for $900,000 to complete the game in 2013. Ariel had lofty expectations of the game and not much to show for it, which inevitably led to some commenters sharing their doubts. Eventually, some backers started claiming that the developer was creating fake accounts to zealously defend the game and its creators. This isn't technically against Kickstarter's rules, but if there were any fake accounts, they could be used to fund the game, and that is against the rules. One of the alleged fake accounts is under the name of that, and says that the only rule broken is that one of the rewards for the campaign promised backers another game, which is in violation of Kickstarter's rules against providing products to backers not directly relating to the campaign they're currently running. Realms of Goldesia was also being sold as an Oculus Rift game, and Ariel Publishing was saying they had 75 development kits for the VR unit and sensitive material about the creation and distribution of the device. However, Palmer Luckey, the inventor of the Oculus Rift, posted on Reddit denying these claims, saying he never even heard of the company before, much less given them 75 units and shared intimate production knowledge with them. Oh, Kickstarter, never change. Except, please do, so we get less crap like this. Number 5. Omnipoint Online, aka TBA. According to a still active IndieDB page, Omnipoint is an MMORPG that takes place in a universe that allows for players to traverse seamlessly across oceans, over mountains, into space, and even to other worlds. So basically a typical MMO and also with some RPG and RTS elements. It was pretty damn ambitious, especially since developer 7DE Studios were only asking for $20,000, pocket change for an MMO, and doubly especially so considering it looked like this. At some point, 7DE decided to blow it up and completely gutted their original Kickstarter campaign. Looking at it now, there's nothing left but a picture saying TBA, and the description reads, "Details about our project will be given to those who contribute to the backing of our project." Presumably they realized they weren't going to get anything with the way the game looked and hoped making it look exclusive would drum up some interest. It didn't work, and presumably Kickstarter suspended the campaign for that old rule about not giving potential backers enough information. Number 4. Chumba World. Chumba World by Virtual Gaming Worlds was a pretty strange concept. It was an MMO, or is an MMO, but rather than running around hitting things with swords or shooting them with guns, you instead created and ran your own virtual casinos, and your own gambling games for those casinos. The Kickstarter page originally pushed the gambling elements pretty hard, but toned that down after getting input from Kickstarter. The thing is, any kind of campaign that promotes gambling on Kickstarter isn't allowed. So how'd the campaign get published in the first place? Well, speaking to VentureBeat, Virtual Gaming World's CEO Lawrence Escalante said that Kickstarter reviewed the campaign 3 separate times, offering feedback twice, which allowed the developer to alter the campaign. Once Kickstarter was happy with it, they gave it the green light. However, Escalante claims they changed their mind almost immediately and suspended the campaign for good. That's pretty screwed up if true, and since Kickstarter refuses to comment on their suspension process, even in the face of accusations like these, it's the only account of events we'll likely ever receive. Number 3. Mujahideen Us or Them. Mujahideen Us or Them is a narrative-driven game in which you play a member of ISIS. I'll just let that sink in. Your goal is to infiltrate Europe to recruit and train suicide bombers to attack large cities. Again, I'll just let that sink in. The Kickstarter page is completely devoid of any proof this game actually exists. There is only a drawing of a bearded man at the top of the page and a few short sentences. Developer Jamie Aldrich launched the Kickstarter on March 24th, 2016. That is 2 days after the 2016 Brussels bombings by ISIS, which resulted in the deaths of 35 people. Yeah, that could be horrifically poor or ill-conceived timing, but given the lack of information on the page and that it doesn't seem to exist anywhere else online, this whole thing is probably just trolling. Number 2. Ariel. The Kickstarter campaign for Ariel is one that remains bathed in mystery to this day. Supposedly created by former developers of Stalker under Eugene Kim, West Games sought $50,000 in Kickstarter funding for a spiritual successor to Stalker. This wasn't strictly true, though. Several formers of GCS Game World, the actual creators of Stalker, claimed that nobody at West Games ever worked for them or on Stalker. Later, it was revealed that the folks at West Games only ever worked on an online Flash version of Stalker that never saw the light of day. It was intended to be used as marketing for the ill-fated Stalker 2. Using this technicality, West Games threatened litigation and hired lawyers, or so they said. Websites that reported on GCSE employees' claims that West Games never worked on Stalker were threatened, and Kim himself called sites like Forbes and VG247 unprofessional and biased. Perhaps the bigger problem, at least to Kickstarter though, was that West Games were exclusively using concept art and images of Stalker to sell Ariel. If Kim or anybody else at West Games owned the rights to these images, that might have been fine, but they didn't, so the campaign was taken down. Number 1. Elementary, my dear Holmes. Elementary, my dear Holmes is the one game on this list that might have actually been good. It at least sounded interesting. It would have been a point-and-click adventure game where you play not as Sherlock Holmes, but as John Watson. That's kind of it in terms of a hook, actually, but I'm a sucker for Sherlock, so that's good enough for me. What isn't good enough for me, though, are the accusations that creator Sam Chandola was using fraudulent accounts to fund his own game. Kickstarter commenters and backers of the campaign, going by Rigo and Goat, claim to have found some discrepancies in regards to accounts backing the campaign. It's a long and complicated drama, but basically, they discovered that a lot of accounts were created just as the campaign was launched and before there was any press coverage of the game, and that many of them changed their name and personal details on their own accounts when they were confronted. Chandola eventually responded to these claims, saying that a lot of friends and family donated to the campaign. He also added something a little more interesting. While it's true that a lot of our family and friends chipped in, he said, I am by no means discounting the allegations brought up here. As always, we will continue to be open and transparent about the matter and report any and all discrepancies to Amazon/Kickstarter. If those pledges are removed and it brings us below the goal and we don't make it, then so be it, and that is fair and square. Kickstarter suspended the campaign soon thereafter. Chandola later told Polygon that he did indeed contact Kickstarter himself with the information Rigo and Goat provided, and hoped they would simply ban the fraudulent accounts, not outright suspend the entire campaign. Elementary, my dear Holmes, and Chandola have since disappeared from the internet, though his company V2 Games now make mobile games, including Pac-Man Bounce and Pacific Rim Breach Wars. Thanks to Kickstarter's policy of silence, we'll never know for sure who was behind those accounts, or what exactly anyone on this list did wrong. We can only assume that Kickstarter was doing the right thing. It might be pretty obvious a majority of the time, but with instances like Elementary, my dear Holmes, we'll just never know. Support us on patreon.com/Clickist for more videos just like this, or visit us at clickist.com for all the latest news, reviews, investigations, interviews, and opinion pieces on indie gaming. Thank you.